Hey, what's up guys? You got Gypsy back here today with my semi-finals match in the Facebook Central OU Cash Tournament for Sun and Moon. So today we're going up against iloveleague, pretty renowned Smoke onto a player, very solid in his own right. We would have been playing my boy Ricardo in this spot, would have been a pretty wild semis, but yeah, hacks is a thing. You guys have seen my last few weeks in the MPL, so yeah, this game can be shit sometimes, so that's basically why we're not facing my boy Ricardo, but yeah, regardless, we're up against iloveleague, and I'm actually using a Ricardo team. So my boy passed me this this nice theme. So we got a nice breaker doggy with it's actually rocking Grandium Z. So Grandium Z helps it break stocks effects easier. Pretty solid versus stall. It also helps it with Chansey. I've got Screech in this set, so I can win a 1v1 with that in a sense, with like Screech plus reversal, and obviously like Z move Earthquake. Then we have it's a Shed Shell variant of Lele, just again helping versus stall. It's got Taunt on this set, HP Fire, basically the same as the Twisted Spoon variant we brought in one of the earlier matches. Then we have Scarf, Pheromosa, the Don, the Windcon. If you look at his team, this is actually a team made by Blunder. My opponent is using a Blunder team. It was a balanced counter team. It's a pretty interesting team actually. He's got like Scarf Keld, that nice like Water Overload with Ninja and Keld. But if you look at his team, like he doesn't really have too much for Scarf Pheromosa. Like once his Landorus gets weakened, like I don't know, like his team just really doesn't have a lot for it. Obviously, his Tapu Koko can take a high jump kick easily, just by virtue of its typing, but it's not going to appreciate high jump kicks after I start getting boosts. After it starts getting chipped by like Helmet or Life Orb, whatever kind of passive damage it's taking. So that's pretty tight. Then we have my defensive lander, just defensive rocks. I believe I am HP Ice in this variant, which is pretty nice in like mirror matches versus opposing like defensive landers, but more specifically double dance landers, which are a huge threat. As you can see, I'm not packing like Water Shuriken Ninja, so like yeah, double dance Landos are a pretty big threat to my team. So having hidden power ice is essential on this Lando. And then we have like a kind of mixed defense, mainly Spadef, Finny, because I don't want to lose the rain. You feel me? And then last we have the God Mega Metagross with it's a pursuit variant, so it's really solid for trapping Tapu Lele, which is obviously a huge threat to so many teams. But having pursuit on there just is a really nice way of removing at least 60% of its health, meaning that it can't come in on stuff like Moonblast from Tapu Fini safely. A pretty nice one indeed, and is definitely going to put in the work this game. So we're going to lead off with I lead off with my Pheromosa this turn. What basically the lead Pharaoh stopped a potential like Rock Lando from just leading off, kind of scared out Ferrothorn too, because there could be Specs, even though Specs wasn't really run around this point in time. People were still kind of like running Scarf and Life Orb, but Pheromosa is a pretty big offensive threat. More importantly, it scares out Greninja, which is, if he was like a protein variant who wanted to start spike stacking, the fear of U-turn scares it out. Water Shuriken can't kill me from the unboosted Greninja, so yeah, Pheromosa is just a pretty nice lead, as he does lead off with his Keldeo, more than likely a Scarfed variant, perhaps trying to get like a surprise Oko on a potential Life Orb Pheromosa who wanted to U-turn out. It also stopped my potential lead Rocks Lando, or even my like lead Rocks Dougie, but obviously I'm not like lead Rocks Dougie, but yeah. Keldeo, pretty solid lead on his part. I'm going to U-turn out here and go out into my Finny, as I know I can tank this Keldeo's hits for days. If he wants to set up and calm under my face, I will beat it 1v1 with Moonblast and Taunt. But he does just go for the Scald here. Now, this turn, like, he's going to, like League is a very aggressive player. Like, I've watched some of the ways he plays. Like, he's very aggressive in the sense that, like, he'll stay in and click Scald here, expecting me to double, expecting me to double to my Lando or my, like, expecting me to double to like my potential Scarf Dougie on his Tapu Koko switching, or scenarios like that. I've watched him play. Like, I know he's aggressive in that sense. So I'm just gonna take my time a little bit here, and I'll just click Nature's Madness, whittling down the Keld. What this does is Nature's Madness covered the potential Ferrothorn play, so he could have switched in Ferro there, would have taken a decent chunk, nice 50 off with that, and switched accordingly. But this time he's definitely gonna switch out because he does want to preserve Keldeo. It's a solid revenger to stuff like Metagross if it's low, obviously Lando and Dougie. So he's going to switch out this turn and go right on out into his Ferrothorn, and I'm just going to fire off another Nature's Madness. And again, like, this is another situation where, like, I know he's aggressive. I know that, like, a lot of people tend to, for some reason, stay in with their Finnies versus Ferrothorn. Like, on the ladder, a lot of people tend to, like, taunt opposing Ferrothorns with their Finnies because they're so confident that the Ferrothorn's going to set up hazards on their predicted switch out because, you know, Finny's not trying to take a power whip from the from Ferrothorn. So people usually do taunt. And, you know, I don't know, like, a lot of players do, like, if he predicts me to make the try-hard taunt play, he can get at least 50 off with the power whip, like a huge chunk of damage, which really opens up the way for his potential Specs Ash Greninja to just run through my team. So I'm not gonna like stay in and make that sort of play. As I do go into my defensive lander, as he does fire for the power whip. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, there was no point in risking that for him potentially getting up rocks. I can defog pretty safely on his Keldeo. I can defog on his potential Specs Ninja. And if you look at my team, nothing on my team really cares too much about having hazards up. Like, I'm not even a Sash Dougie. Like, my team isn't too hurt by hazards. Like, spikes are more annoying than stealth rocks in a way because it chips down Metagross quicker, but you know, even still, like, hazards aren't the biggest deal for this team. So I'm going to go into my defensive lander as he's just going to take this turn to set up rocks, I believe, as I U-turn out. I U-turn out because he may have wanted to go hard into Greninja there, predicting either my hidden power fire or because sounds weird, but some landers do run hidden power fire for defensive landers run hidden power fire for opposing Mega Scizor, as that is a really nice check to Mega Metagross. So on a team like this, where, you know, opposing Mega Scizors check my Mega Metagross, having HP fire on the lander is a pretty nice lure to just weaken it or even take it out if, you know, you outspeed and you can get an HP fire off on a turn, you expect them to roost or something like that. So, you know, he may have predicted that, or he may have just switched hard out into Ninja, trying to capitalize on my potential Stealth Rock there. I do U-turn out, as like I said, I don't lose much by it. Like, if he did switch, then I gain momentum and I got a huge chunk off from the Greninja. If he stays in, he's more than likely getting up hazards, and again, my team doesn't care too much about hazards, so U-turn was my play there. Now he's going to go for the rocks here as I bring in my Lele. Now, here's a situation where, like, it's a 50-50 of sorts. I could go for the Hidden Power Fire and KO the Ferrothorn here. Alternatively, I could go for, like, the Moonblast, predicting his Greninja or his Keldeo to come in to tank the HP Fire. From his perspective, Ferrothorn has done its job. Like, it's got up rocks. Everything on my team beats it at this point. It can't switch into 2 EQs from my Mega Metagross. It gives my Pheromosa a Beast Boost if it, you know, tanks if it stays into die to a high jump kick. Ferrothorn's done its job, so I'm not going to make, like, the read of him switching out. I am just going to click HP Fire here. As we do get that right, he does stay in and sack off his Ferrothorn, which is pretty nice for my Lele now, as I can have an easier time, you know, pressing Psychic or Moonblast or versus his team. But obviously the Mega Metagross is standing in my Lele's way. Now Lele would be pretty solid to keep around, as its terrain can counter that of Tapu Koko's. It can also tank, easily tank a T-Bolt from after rocks, even if electric terrain is up, which is pretty solid. So keeping Lele around would make a lot of sense for me. And I know that League is aggressive. I know he's going to predict me to go hard out into my Lando on the Meteor Mash, trying to get chip damage, putting this in range of Dog Trio's Earthquake. So I'm going to stay in here and click HP Fire as this man goes for the Ice Punch. We do get that read right, and we get frozen, but we thaw because my Lele wanted that damage, and Metagross is going to take that nice half. I sack Lele off here, reason being, at half it was killed by Greninja, it was revenged by Keldeo, it was OHKO'd by Tapu Koko, and the fact that his Ferrothorn was a rocker means that Landorus is more than likely an offensive variant, so I was going to die to a Lando anyway, as now this means I can actually secure the kill on Metagross. You know, had I preserved Lele there and switched out to Lando on a potential Meteor Mash, I would have taken an Ice Punch anyway, and it would have meant that his Metagross could live another day and come in later on versus... he may have had Bullet Punch as well, so that would have been really nasty versus my late game Wincon, which is Scarf Pheromosa. So just guaranteeing myself the kill versus the Metagross is pretty huge in that sense. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake here as we do take him out. He's under Psychic Terrain, so even if he had Bullet Punch, he couldn't have gone for it there. And now in comes his Landorus. This is obviously a huge threat because he think, you know, whether I'm choice locked or not, there's not much a Dog Trio Intimidator can do to a Landorus. He's probably going to set up in my face. So I go out into my own Landorus, knowing that I can at least get an HP Ice off. He chooses to Rock Polish first turn, revealing that he's obviously a Double Dance variant, more than likely a Z move Landorus because that's the most common item on a Double Dance variant. Earthplate has fallen off because Z Landorus is just so fucking broken. But yeah, Lando's going to come in here. The fact that he's intimidated means that even a Z Fly won't kill me from this range. He's going to Swords Dance this turn as I'm going to fire off a juicy Hidden Power Ice, and that does a lot. Now, I know he's going to either Supersonic Sky Strike here, or he's going to press Continental Crush. Looking at his team, and the fact that this is built to take on, you know, Skarm, as he does have a Mega Metagross on his team, he really does appreciate Continental Crush, which Oko's Skarm after a round of rocks. That being said, even if he is a Supersonic Sky Strike variant, Metagross can tank, considering he's only at +1. So I'm going to switch to Metagross here, knowing I can tank the hit and scare him out with a potential Bullet Punch the next turn. Psychic Terrain is not up, so I know this, you know, I know this is definitely a big threat to his Landorus, who, actually looking at my team, is his only check to potential Scarf Dog Trio's Earthquake at this point. Yes, he has Water Shuriken on Ninja, but I do have Finny in the back. Scarf Dog Trio is looking like a pretty big threat, because it does outspeed Keldeo and Oko's from the range of health attack. It outspeeds his Life Orb Tapu Koko, which actually is his set. He's not a Scarf variant, so keeping his Landorus around to capitalize on a potential choice locked into Earthquake Dog Trio does make a lot of sense versus my team, as he hasn't determined my set yet. Because the range of health his Metagross was at when Dog Trio took it down would have died to even a Sash variant of Dog Trio. And yeah, he had no way of determining my set. I hadn't shown off the Z move there deliberately to, you know, maintain the illusion that I potentially could be a Scarfed variant, but nonetheless, I do predict him to switch out here, expecting me to go for Bullet Punch, which makes a lot of sense because why the fuck else would you bring a Metagross in on a +2 Landorus? So basically, had I gone for Bullet Punch here, it would have invited in his Greninja to get a kill, essentially, or to get huge momentum with U-turn on my predicted finish switch into his Tapu Koko, which really threatens my team. Tapu Koko, looking at my team here, like, my switch-ins to it are Dog Trio, and I don't outspeed, and he can U-turn and kill me with Dazzling Gleam. It's a big threat. My Metagross is weakened, it dies to a T-Bolt. My Pheromosa has Poison Jab, but I don't think it kills from full. Like, it lives it with like 20%, so had I gone for Bullet Punch here, it would lose me a ton of momentum, because I know he's going to switch out. Like, I know he's going to switch out. I know he's scared of the Scarf Dog Trio, so switching out makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go for the Pursuit here, as we do catch the Lando trying to switch. And this is huge. This opens the door up for my Scarf Pheromosa to pretty much wrap up the game. So he goes into his Tapu Koko here. I'm going to sack off my Metagross because it is outsped by everything on his team. And it does give me some valuable information about his set. Now this is Life Orb, which is actually really useful for me. The fact that he's Life Orb means that all I need is a little bit more chip and then some U-turn damage with Pheromosa to put him in range of High Jump Kick. Now I choose not to go into Pheromosa here because I go into Dog Trio, just wanting to get that Life Orb chip. I could have realistically gone into Pheromosa and then U-turned here, U-turned that turn and gone right out into Dougie to force more Life Orb damage. But I think I was concerned about keeping my Pheromosa at a range of health where it wouldn't die to an unboosted, like a standard Greninja's Water Shuriken. So I didn't want it to take that damage because I don't have Psychic Terrain up on the field anymore. Like, Lele's down, I don't have like that protecting me from potential Water Shuriken, so I wanted to keep my Pheromosa you know, at the highest range of health possible. I didn't want to switch into rocks, you know, if I could help it, until I really needed to bring it in. So that's why I go into my Dog Trio. He's going to knock me out with Dazzling Gleam, revealing that I am not Scarfed, which is really solid as for him. But this means that I can go into my Pheromosa now. I know that if at this range of health I'm at 88%, after one more rock switch in, I'll still be out of range of Water Shuriken unless he gets like 5 hits, which is pretty solid. So I'm going to go for U-turn here, as we do get a crit. Crit was irrelevant in the sense that I know that my boys are going to be calling me out for that. All the crit meant was that he was a lower amount of health. Like high jump kick killed even without the crit. so that's, you know, that's all good. But obviously, like, I have to hit high jump kick, so that's the thing. But I'm going to bring Pheromosa in, and we are going to start clicking high jump kick, and yeah, we're going to hit, and we get that nice boost. So not that it's really, you know, needed. Everything dies the high jump kick at this point. So Greninja's going to go down. He doesn't have the water shuriken, or he chooses not to go for it for some reason. If he had it, again, it wouldn't have killed me unless he got like 5 hits and good rolls. So in comes the Keldeo, and that is just going to drop. Basically, once the Tapu Koko went down, my Lele won either way, because unless he was like Gunk Shot, like Protean Gunk Shot, Greninja, my Tapu Fini beat both the Keldeo and the Greninja at that point. So the Keldeo and the Keldeo and the Greninja. So Pheromosa just sweeping there was just kind of icing on the cake. And yeah, good game 1 versus iloveleague. Very, very tense match, especially with the Metagross play. That was definitely fun during the match. The chat was going wild. And yeah, I'm gonna be back with game 2 in just a minute. Alright guys, so we're back with game 2. Basically game 2 happened pretty like 5 minutes after game 1. I was talking to my boy, I was talking to Matty Brolick, my boy, and I was like, dude, what team should I use for game 2? Just you know, didn't really know what team. I'd been using pretty conventional kind of like bulky offense to bear offense, Ricardo NJMP teams for the majority of the tour. Really solid teams, really fun teams, but like I needed some cream, you know, I needed some cream in my life. So I hit up my boy Matty Brolick, and he said, Gypsy, my man, let me pass you some cream. So he sent me the paste bin. And yeah, this is basically what it is. So we got ourselves some nice Tapu Fini, pretty standard Tapu Fini. Then we got a Shiftry. Now Shiftry plus Zard is a pretty solid core. Like Zard gets the Sun up for Shiftry, which gets rid of, you know, Zard checks basically. Or well, the combination of Dugtrio plus Shiftry gets rid of Zard checks. Shiftry under Sun is just nasty, man. Like this thing is a threat. But you know, then we have Bronzong to check Double Dance Landorus with Hidden Power Ice checks. Mega Metagross, it has EQ, like it does a decent job of checking it, weakens it for Dougie anyway. Takes on Latios, like it's just a monster. Like it takes on Mimikyu, like I think it lives up. I think it lives up +2 Shadow Claw. Like it's pretty defensive. But then we have Comfy the God. This thing is this is the MVP to this mon here. Like, whew. Then we have a nice Scarf Dugtrio in the back. So we're gonna lead off. I'm gonna lead off with my Bronzong in case he wants to lead off with his Lando, who's obviously his rocker. Just looking at his team, it means I can get up rocks, potentially get a Hidden Power Ice off turn 1 if he does want to go for it. But he actually leads off with Keldeo. Interesting. He likes to lead off with Keldeo. Turn 1 I am going to go for Earthquake, predicting his Magnezone to come in, as the best thing I could do is switch out to either set up my own rocks here, like risking my Bronzong, or to switch out to my Tapu Fini, predicting his like Scald or something like that, or even like his Taunt from a potential like lead Taunt Keldeo. And what bringing Fini does then is like, if he doubles to zone on my Fini, he gets a huge hit off on something. He gets at least a T-Bolt. If he's like Shed Shell, then he can just fire off a T-Bolt without fearing my Dougie trapping him. You know, he could just fire for Flash Cannon, do huge damage to my potential Dougie switch in. It's just really nasty dealing with that double. So I am going to go for the Earthquake here, as he does actually stay in here and Scald. So again, not fearing my Fini, that's fine though. I go for Earthquake, doesn't do much to Keldeo at all, but it gets some decent damage off. I'm going to switch out this turn into my Finis. He makes a nice double out into his Metagross, trying to capitalize on my Fini switch in. If I let Fini take a hit from Metagross, then I become a less reliable check to stuff like Keldeo. This is actually a Z Haze finish, so basically this Z move allows you to get rid of opposing boosts as well as heal up to full. So pretty nice set, but you know, I'm obviously going to want to keep this intact as a Keldeo check, as well as being a way to check Mimikyu. And if I don't show that I don't have lefties, it may entice him to set up with Mimikyu, you know, not fearing that like I will haze away his boosts. So I'm going to switch out this turn, go back into my Bronzong, because I know I can tank a hit and set up Stealth Rocks. does go for mash. It does a solid chunk with the burn. He gets the attack raise here. Kind of annoying because I would have been able to live another medium mash after this. And he does actually choose this turn to switch out here. He goes out into his Lando. He knows he can set up rocks versus my Bronzong, and setting up rocks is more important than killing off Bronzong there, because I have a Zard Y on my team, and obviously I'm probably going to want to get rid of hazards if he sets them up versus Zard Y. So like me getting up hazards there is not the end of the world for him. So he does go out into his Landorus. But this is nice because I can get off a nice HP Ice off on his Landorus, which is going to put him pretty low, pretty nice and low for stuff like my Shiftry and my own Zard Y. Even the Zard Y can obviously OHKO at full, but also pretty nice for Comfy if I ever get a Comfy sweep going. But he's going to knock off my Bronzong. My Bronzong did a job, it got up rocks and it weakened the Landos significantly. Now I bring in Zard Y the monster, and I'm just going to click Fire Blast and take out this Lando. Could have clicked Solar Beam, obviously, like the safer play, but had he got out into Laddie, Fire Blast actually pressures it, whereas Solar Beam does like literally 0, so we risk it out here. He's going to go into his Metagross here. I stay with my Zard and Fire Blast here because realistically Zard is outsped by Metagross, he's outsped by like Latios and Keldeo. You know, his Mimikyu has potential like Life Orb, Shadow Sneak, so like, you know, Zard isn't doing a whole lot now that rocks are up. And I'd rather keep rocks on his side of the field because I can sweep with like Shiftry easier if rocks are up. He's going to go for the Zen Headbutt here, and he's actually going to miss, which is huge for my opponent. Obviously very costly, very lucky for my side, but you know, I haven't really got too lucky this tour, so this was like my first big like stroke of luck, but it definitely mattered in the sense that like having Metagross around would have been pretty nice for him. I could have trapped with Dougie the next turn, I could have revenged with Shiftry. But it definitely does clear the way for Comfy to have, you know, an easier time versus his team. So yeah, definitely sucks for my opponent that he missed Zen there, but I think the safer play would have just been clicking like Ice Punch or Thunder Punch if he had it. I'm pretty sure he would have had Ice Punch because he does appreciate opposing Landos getting weakened for Mimikyu's SD sweep. So yeah, I think maybe the play there was to click Ice Punch. You know, he may have feared my Finny coming in, but then, you know, Ice Punch into Medium Mash weakens it for his Mimikyu, it weakens it for his Keldeo, so yeah, I don't really know his set, so I can't comment on that, but yeah, just unfortunate for my opponent. Nonetheless, he's going to go into his Keldeo here, as I'm going to go into my Comfy. The reason I do this is because I know he's a Scarfed variant, and I know he's probably not going to click Scald because Finny is such an obvious switch. The move that hits Zard plus Finny, and like it's in the sun as well, so like Scald is like significantly weaker. The move that hits Zard and Finny is HP Electric, and Keldeo's actually carry that for Mantine as well as like Pelipper, which makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to go into my Finny and eat up this HP Electric, as had he gone for Scald there, it would have done very little to Finny as well. But yeah, you know, the Finny, my Comfy, I think I said Finny, I meant to say Comfy there. But Comfy, you know, while it could calm mind up and start draining kissing, he does have a Magnezone. Finny had other plans. Finny's just going to use my Comfy. I keep saying Finny. I mean Comfy. Comfy goes to the U-turn here. Brings in my nice Scarf Dog Trio, and we are able to take out this Magnezone, which is huge because that's one less thing standing in the way of Comfy if it does come down to that. So his Latios is going to come in here. I am going to sack off my Zard here just to get up the sun for my Shiftry, meaning that it has a, you know, it's now a big threat to his team. I can click Knockoff and start wearing his team down. He's going to make some doubles here, you know, wanting to waste the sun as well as chip down my Shiftry with Life Orb damage. He's going to pivot between Keldeo and Latios, just trying to wear me down, but that's honestly fine. Like, I die to a player off from Mimikyu anyway, so like, it's not as though health on Shiftry is important. All this is doing is making his team weaker to potential Scarfed Dug Trios like Sucker Punch late game versus his team. Like I said, I'm going to die to Mimikyu regardless, so keeping Shiftry at a high amount of health is kind of irrelevant. So he's going to go for Swords Dance here, as I am just going to knock off, removing nothing. That's important to keep in mind. So this is obviously a Z move Mimikyu. He's either Z move or he's like a no item, and obviously he's going to be a Z move. He's going to take out my Shiftry here with Shadow Claw, and I'm going to go out into my Finny. Now I go into my Finny. I could have Haze on this set. Like, I could have Haze, I could have Nature's Madness, I could have Taunt. Either way, his Mimikyu can't kill me from full, from 88% with a +2 play rough. It will, however, do a ton if he has the Z move, Ghost, like the Z move Shadow Claw. So I'm going to double out into my Comfy to bait his Z move to activate, which means that my Tapu Fini can then Haze Mimikyu comfortably without fearing dying to a +2 Z move, as this is really solid because Dugtrio is looking in a pretty solid position. Once I get some damage off on this Fini with my off on this Mimikyu with my Fini, my Dugtrio will be able to wrap up the end game. So I'm going to go for the Haze here to lull him into a false sense, as he's going to Shadow Claw this turn, and then I'm going to reveal the Z Haze and just heal right back up onto full. Little pretty, like, not a, don't do this in in an actual game. Like, in that situation, like, to the people watching, like, just press Z Haze. I was just getting kind of cheeky there, but really I'm just going to go for the Moonblast here, which is just going to weaken down the Mimikyu, as he's going to play rough, and that's going to 2-echo me. I go for Haze this turn. It doesn't really matter, like, I could have Shadow Ball, I could have Moonblast twice. It's going to be the same result because he is going to end up with a boost, as play rough is going to take me out here. So, like, my plays there didn't really matter either way. He was going to end up at +2, and I was going to end up with a dead Fini. But what this means is Mimikyu dies to rocks, so, like, it can't switch out. I am a Scarf Dugtrio, and I'm going to click Scarf Sucker Punch, and we take out the Mimikyu, and he's going to bring in his Latios. Now, his only way of winning here is if he's like a Scarfed Latios and he has Sucker Punch. Sorry, he has Trick. He knows I have Sucker Punch, so his play is to click Trick, as he is going to go for that. I go for Sucker, and it fails as he goes for Trick. I obtain a Choice Scarf. Now, the thing about this Dugtrio is it's actually like I think it's an Adamant variant, and it does not outspeed Latios. So I'm going to Stone Edge here, predicting him to Trick, wanting to waste my Sucker Punches and, like, storm me out in this, like, mind game match. He's going to Trick here. I'm going to press Stone Edge, revealing that I am actually slower than his Lati, and we are going to win. We are going to win the semi-finals up against iloveleague. So yeah, this was like a really fun series. I had a lot of fun playing him. Yeah, he's a very good player, and yeah, it was good to face some stiff competition. It was fun to use these heat teams. Dougie came through in game 1 and game 2. So, I don't know how much longer this thing is going to be around in OU, but yeah, it was definitely fun to use in this tour. Some nice heat. Obviously good to see Comfy put in that work. Just nice pivot. I know Maddie's got some nice sweeps with Comfy, but in this game Comfy was more of a utility mon, baiting in stuff like the Magnezone and just trapping the Dougie. So yeah, showing off this team. This team was built by Maddie Brolick. So yeah, definitely all the props go to him, and Ricardo built the team from game 1. So yeah, thanks to my boys for the team. I hope you guys enjoyed the semis match. This obviously means I move on to the finals, so if I win the finals, then I get the cash prize, which is pretty sweet because it's not often you get money for playing Pokemon. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, let me know in the comments, and drop a like if you did enjoy. It's cool to see how many of my subscribers are actually interested in standard Smogon content, because I know a lot of you guys do enjoy the draft league stuff, which I'm really passionate about and I love, but obviously it's cool to mix it up every now and then, and it's nice to hear your perspectives on Smogon and the meta game and all that sort of stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.